A $500 million yacht glides across the Mediterranean, two Gulfstream G6 50-years shrouded in secrecy. From handwritten diaries to Michelin-starred dinners on flying palaces, every moment is designed to be mastered. Welcome to the world of Jeff Bezos. Check out these 8 mysterious facts about Jeff Bezos. The last one will leave you speechless. The billion-dollar guest list they don't want you to see inside the Bezos wedding in Venice. Under the Venetian moonlight, June 26 to 28, 2025, Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez staged a spectacle of power that reverberated across the globe. With a reported cost of $50 million, the 3-day celebration became the center stage for the world's elite, yet beneath the glamour, whispers of conspiracy and privilege crackled. Oprah Winfrey, the visionary media titan, arrived gracefully at the Am in Venice, her presence a strategic nod to influence. Bill Gates, quietly powerful and unseen by the public eye, made an understated appearance, an unspoken pledge of solidarity among titanic fortunes. Their attendance confirmed that this wasn't mere showmanship, it was a meeting of the minds shaping public policy and global agendas. The Kardashian-Jenner clan Kim, Khloe and Kendall descended aboard private limousines, beacons of modern fame. Their attendance symbolized the newlywed couple's mastery in commanding social media ecosystems, their every move calculated and captured. Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner, once fixtures of political power, appeared on the elegant Venetian pontoons. Their understated presence begged the question, was their invitation a simple gesture or a nuanced dialogue between billionaires and political dynasties? Hollywood's elite also graced the event. Leonardo DiCaprio and Orlando Bloom mingled with Bezos's inner circle, their attendance a testament to a wedding that blurred boundaries where tech overlords and Hollywood royalty converged. Amid crescendoing music and Michelin-starred banquets, whispers of secret performers and surprise appearances added layers of mystery. Celebrities like Lady Gaga, Elton John, Ellie Goulding, and Usher, their names floated among murmurs, hinted at stage entrances concealed behind cloisters and shipyard walls. Luxury intertwined with controversy. Venetian activists unfurled banners reading "No space for Bezos and the 1% ruins the world," staging protests against privatization of public spaces. Yet the mayor of Venice, Luigi Brugnero, appeared on the same pontoon, dismissing dissent and championing the event's €957 million economic windfall. But perhaps the most provocative figure was Diane von Furstenberg, arriving hand in hand with Barry Diller, their friendship not only social but strategic. They were insiders who had hosted Bezos and Sanchez at their Beverly Hills estate. Their attendance hinted that this wedding was as much about alliances as affections. Among hidden messages, the positioning of guests seemed choreographed. Entertainment moguls, business titans, political heirs, the guest list was a living matrix, mapping out alliances between wealth, culture, and geopolitical influence. Every smile across candlelit canals carried the weight of networked power. This wasn't just a wedding, it was a whispered summit disguised in silk, lace, and secrecy. It was the world's most exclusive salon, erected for 3 nights on sacred Venetian canals, with a guest list that reads like a who's who of omnipotence. So ask yourself, were these invitations gestures of love or blueprints for a new global order, stitched in velvet and glamour? Which character impressed you the most in the wedding? Leave a comment below for me. But to understand that signal, you must go back to where it all began, with a teenage mother and a child no one expected to rule the world. The billionaire's origin secret they can't hide, Bezos' childhood that forged $220 billion ambition. Born on January 12, 1964, in Albuquerque, New Mexico, his mother was a teenage student who gave birth at just 17, a fact often sanitized in public biographies, but it shaped Bezos into someone uniquely driven. Abandoned by his biological father before his 2nd birthday, he was adopted at age 4 by Miguel Mike Bezos, as a Cuban immigrant and petroleum engineer working for Exxon in Houston. That adoption wasn't merely legal, it was transformational. Houston, however, was just a waypoint. Every summer, Bezos returned to the 25,000-acre Cotulla Ranch owned by his mother's father, Lawrence Guys, later expanded by Jeff himself to 300,000 acres. There, under Texas sun, he rigged windmills, fixed bulldozers, and learned the harsh, tangible lessons of self-reliance, grit, precision, and the gratification of hard-won solutions. When the family moved to Miami for Mike's work, Bezos entered Miami Palmetto High School, a world apart from Texas dust. By day, he was valedictorian, National Merit Scholar, and Silver Knight Award winner in 1982. By night, he worked as a morning cook at McDonald's, sweating over short-order eggs and bacon, learning a different kind of discipline, one measured in sizzling grills, not spreadsheets. But the true ignition of Bezos's ambition came in his school commencement speech, where he declared a dream most would dismiss as naive: colonizing space and turning Earth into a huge national park. That grand declaration, delivered in the heart of 1980s Miami, wasn't theatrical bravado. It was the visible marker of a lifelong obsession with humanity's cosmic frontier. Even at Princeton, Bezos's trajectory followed a straight line from blueprint to build. He majored in electrical engineering and computer science, but more important was how he honed his ability to spot patterns in both code and culture. He became president of the Students for Exploration and Development of Space (SEDES), blending technical skill with visionary leadership. No flash in the pan, no fabricated anecdotes. What emerges from these verifiable milestones is a man shaped by contrasts: teenage turmoil and rugged ranch discipline, greasy kitchen floors and subito academic excellence. And above all, an unyielding declaration of cosmic ambition delivered at age 18. Now, as Bezos soars into orbit and counts his stakes in the trillions, remember, he was launched long before Amazon with a teenage mother, a Cuban father, Texas grit, restaurant rigor, and a dream whispered in a high school auditorium that the stars would soon be his. Inside the $250,000 bet that built Amazon and Bezos's billion-dollar investment empire. In the unforgiving world of Manhattan finance in the early 1990s, Jeff Bezos emerged as a quant prodigy. After Princeton, he carved his way through FITL, building complex financial networks, then moved to Bankers Trust, where he managed software sales to pension funds, all quietly mastering risk and systems at a scorching pace. But it was at D.E. Shaw Company, a nascent hedge fund, where his brilliance crystallized. By age 30, Bezos achieved the title of Senior Vice President, the fourth youngest in the firm's history. He refined algorithms, stitched together predictive models, and discovered the seductive edge of exponential growth. Yet, in 1994, with the internet expanding at an eye-watering 2,300% per year, Bezos made a shocking exit. He left a stable Ivy League pedigree in finance behind, drove from New York to Seattle in a passenger seat strewn with ambition, and penned the Amazon business plan. Between gas stations and the next global empire was born. Amazon launched in a humble Seattle garage in July 1994, a daring gambit on e-commerce's uncharted frontier. Bezos's stealth moves were almost surgical, convincing his parents to invest a total of $300,000, forecasting a near 70% chance of failure, committing to get big fast. His gamble, Amazon would outpace traditional retailers by reinvesting profits, embracing scale over profits. By 1998, Bezos had already rewritten the rulebook. He diverted early Amazon revenues to deploy a $250,000 bet on Google, securing 3 million shares now worth billions. Simultaneously, he began funding Blue Origin, signaling his personal blueprint: buy into the unknown, then shape its future. Bezos's Bezos expeditions soon emerged as his secret weapon. Quietly, capital flowed into Silicon Valley disruptors, Uber, Airbnb, and biotech pioneers like Unity Biotechnology, Grail, even Juno Therapeutics. His investments weren't random, they were calculated stakes on rising human ambition, transportation, hospitality, longevity, media. And then came the Washington Post, a $250 million acquisition in 2013. Not an indulgence, but a strategic play. Bezos pivoted the Post into a tech-powered media powerhouse, shattering profit droughts and harnessing digital ad growth through analytics. Bezos understood what others missed. Financial systems taught him scale and risk, but the bigger lesson came from the exponential pulse of technology. With a $250,000 seed, he didn't just found Amazon, he launched an empire diversified across spaceflight, media, biotech, hospitality, and digital infrastructure. No ostentation, no leaks, just silent, persistent empire building. That's the luxury of power hidden in precision. Bezos didn't just bet on the future, he quietly paid for it. The $30 billion bet they never regretted, how Bezos' parents gambled on Amazon. Jacqueline and Miguel Bezos were far from affluent tycoons, they were ordinary, yet quietly audacious, first-generation believers. When Jeff founded Amazon in 1994, he secured 22 angel investors, but none carried more trust or risk than his own mother and stepfather. In 1995, Jacqueline and Miguel sank $245,573 of their hard-earned savings into Amazon, casually shrugging off the warning that they could lose it all. That modest investment, born from parental conviction, would metamorphose into a 6% stake in the company, a holding now valued at a jaw-dropping $30 billion by 2025, offering a mind-blowing 12 million % return on capital. Powerful roots, teenage mother, refugee father. Jacqueline made headlines long before Amazon as a pregnant 16-year-old student in Albuquerque. She refused to be sidelined carrying baby Jeff to night classes in a canvas bag filled with diapers and textbooks while battling school board pushback. Her resilience became the bedrock of Bezos' upbringing and the quiet source of family strength. Miguel, a Cuban immigrant who arrived at 16 with nothing but hope, embraced his role as provider. He adopted Jeff in 1968 and built a stable life in Exxon's engineering world, a steadfast pillar of encouragement. The shockwave investment. What makes the parents' story pulse with intrigue isn't their humble origins, it's the gravity-defying scale of their vision. At a time when Amazon was nothing more than a digital bookstore blueprint, the couple wagered $250,000, a near impossible decision for people who once worried over tuition and household expenses. Their leap of faith was not just financial, but deeply personal. It affirmed their belief in Jeff's vision at a stage when no one else would. Stakes become Schrodinger's fortune. In many ways, Jacqueline and Miguel's investment is a case study in exponential wealth creation hidden behind the curtains of power. It may appear that Jeff Bezos is the architect of Amazon's empire, but the financial bedrock traces back to two individuals who wagered family savings on a dream. Today, their stake is so influential it rivals sovereign wealth funds, yet remains largely unspoken. They're the untold financiers behind the Bezos legacy, silent, anonymous, yet impossibly wealthy. A philanthropic echo. That monumental return didn't vanish into private jet hangars. Jacqueline and Miguel channeled a significant portion of their wealth into education through the Bezos Family Foundation, donating nearly 600,000 Amazon shares between 2001 and 2016. Their giving has propelled over $710 million in contributions to Seattle's Fred Hutchinson Cancer Center and $166 million to NYU Langone Health. Their immense windfall helped construct a quiet empire of scholarship, cancer research, and civic betterment. Jacqueline and Miguel Bezos didn't just raise a child. They quietly seeded a global empire and then constructed a philanthropic dynasty worthy of it. Their untold narrative is one of grit, faith, and a $30 billion stake that reshaped modern capitalism and quietly redefined what it means to be powerful behind the scenes. The $500 million real estate web Jeff Bezos built in secret. In the shadowed corners of Miami's exclusive Indian Creek Island, often dubbed the billionaire bunker, Jeff Bezos has silently assembled a nearly imperceptible real estate empire that now totals over $237 million in 2 years. His initial acquisition came in June 2023, a sleek 9,300 square foot waterfront mansion purchased for $68 million, followed just months later by a neighboring estate priced at $79 million, featuring 7 bedrooms, 14 baths, a home theater, library, pool, and wine cellar. Indian Creek Island isn't just another playground for the ultra-rich, it's a fortress. Limited to around 41 properties, the gated community offers private roads, its own golf course, rigorously enforced storm protection codes, and 24/7 security. The island's rising sea levels and flood risks estimated at a 73% chance of inundation by 2050 present a gamble that few would dare, yet Bezos remains undeterred. Why invest in a potentially transient tropical paradise? For Bezos, proximity to personal assets and his aging parents may have outweighed climatological logic. Meanwhile, across the country, Bezos has consolidated prime real estate in Washington's elite Kalorama neighborhood home to former presidents and top diplomats. In 2016, he acquired the stately $23 million textile museum, then embarked on over $12 million in renovations combining 2 historic structures to create a single 27,000 square foot mansion featuring a ballroom, multiple libraries, 3 kitchens, and a private whiskey cellar. Amid speculations that he purchased yet another adjacent lot in 2020 for about $5 million, whispers suggest he's building a discrete compound worthy of the city's most powerful players. On the West Coast, Bezos reigns over the nearly 3-acre Warner estate in Beverly Hills, a $165 million tapestry of Georgian elegance. Once owned by Hollywood mogul David Geffen, the property sprawls over 9 acres with a 13,600 square foot mansion, private golf course, tennis courts, dual guest houses, pool, and even on-site fuel pumps, an opulent escape totalizing the most expensive home sale in California at its time. This isn't mere luxury, it's a real estate strategy designed to insulate, influence, and endure. Bezos's $300 million Corn Ranch spaceport, nestled quietly 30 miles north of Van Horn, Texas, lies a 165,000-acre expanse, or about 257 square miles, that hides a billion-dollar secret. Jeff Bezos's Corn Ranch, officially known as Launch Site 1, the clandestine crown jewel of Blue Origin's space ambitions. Purchased by Bezos in 2004, this remote Texan realm is far more than a sprawling ranch. It is the epicenter of a privately funded space revolution and an enigmatic fortress where the future is launched. Imagine a place where silence reigns supreme except for the roar of rocket engines. Corn Ranch quietly morphed into a rocket testing nexus, where Blue Origin has conducted over 36 new Shepard launch and landing cycles, including the dramatic return to launch pad maneuvers that made headlines. Notably, on June 4, 2022, the site hosted its 5th crewed mission, a 10-minute suborbital voyage that carried civilians to the edge of space, offering fleeting weightlessness and views of Earth's curvature inside the untouchable jet supercar vault. Across land, sky, and sea, Jeff Bezos has built a private empire so opulent it borders on the surreal. At the center of Bezos' automotive sanctum sits the Bugatti Veyron Mansory, a $3.4 million masterpiece that Forbes confirms as one of the fastest and most imposing in his $50 million garage. Nearby gleams the Koenigsegg CXR Trevita, a near-mythical $4.8 million marvel. One of just 3 in existence, its diamond-whitened carbon fiber chassis shimmers with $1 million secret. Bezos' collection then takes a darker turn. The Lamborghini Veneno, at $4.5 million, looks more like a sci-fi warship than a car, only superseding his Lycan Hypersport, $3.4 million. The rare Lebanese machine famed for diamond-studded headlights and a starring moment in Furious. No detail is spared, plush interiors and bespoke finishes that blur the line between machine and monument. Each of these vehicles is not just fast, they're fortified status symbols, a siren code to the ultra-wealthy. But Bezos doesn't stop at four wheels. In the air, his aviation dominance is equally staggering. He owns at least two Gulfstream G650ER jets, each valued between $64 to $70 million. These aren't mere playthings, they are mobile fortresses. Capable of non-stop flights over 8,000 miles, they are outfitted with Italian leather, private bedrooms, satellite Wi-Fi, and custom hangars kept off public registries' anonymity woven into billionaire-level travel. And then there's the yacht, the notorious Flying Fox. Rumored to be Bezos to the tune of $500 million, this 136-meter Lursen behemoth is more akin to a floating palace. Equipped with dual helipads, a saltwater pool, a private cinema, and a vintage wine cellar that could swallow most multi-million-dollar real estate deals, it represents the apex of maritime secrecy and spectacle. Here's the shock: every piece is more than wealth, it's a strategic fortress. Each car, plane, and yacht blends extreme luxury with high-security engineering. The Trevita isn't just rare, its carbon fiber is rumored to resist prying eyes. The G650ERs are registered through private entities, disappearing from flight radar travel cloaked in shadows. The Flying Fox isn't docked, it's hidden under superstructure levels of privacy. These aren't purchases, they are mobile sanctums, each a separate kingdom protected by money and mystery. Bezos didn't just assemble an arsenal of luxury, he built a tri-domain citadel that signals dominance. For those watching from below, it's not merely envy, it's awe tinged with anxiety. Because in this staggering display, it's not the money you see, it's the access you don't. Want to know how Jeff Bezos generates the fortune that fuels his lavish lifestyle? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Like this video, subscribe so you never miss a new story about the world's most fascinating people. Thanks for watching.